Good afternoon, everybody. Calm Biker here. Taking this opportunity to head out with Mrs. C on the back, and we're going to go and test ride a bike. I'll probably do a video of me test riding the bike, so I won't tell you about it yet. I don't know what the chances of me buying it are. Probably pretty slim, but the idea that I'm looking at now is a bike that's more suited to having Mrs. C on. So it's going to be Mrs. C's bike, even though she doesn't ride. I'll ride and she'll be pillion. So because I'm quite short and Mrs. C is slightly less in the leg than I, if I call her short she might smack me. Trying to go and find something low. So we're going to go and look at a very low bike, a bit of cruiserage. And while I was just getting ready to go, just waiting for the right time to leave so I didn't melt on the way, I was on NBC. So I'm a moderator on NBC and I haven't been on there for a while, with me being on holiday. I've not been on YouTube either, which is why I haven't responded to comments for a while, so apologies for that. I will be catching up. But I saw a post on there from someone called Rosalind. I forget the full name. Rosalind, Rosie, don't call me Ros, she said. And she's just done a CBT and her theory test, and she's now getting on to do the tests. And she's thinking about bikes, and she's in this awkward position of being a new rider. Or she will be a new rider. And she's saying, well, is this bike going to be any good? Should I get this? And of course, a lot of dealers won't let you test ride. So I was thinking about this, and I had a chat with the dealer that I'm going to now, Rob Speed. And this was, to be fair, probably about a year ago I talked to them about this very problem. Very kind of the Audi driver. There you go. And they had a different opinion. They said that the problem is that, of course, you have to insure anybody that's riding your bikes doing a test ride. And the more restrictions you put on, the lower the insurance gets. So allowing CBT people, L-platers, to ride 125s that are learner legal, a lot of people won't let them, well, a lot of dealers won't let you do because it costs a lot to insure them. And somebody who's not been riding for long, so under a year or under 2 years seems to be the cut-off, again, really whacks the insurance premium up. And I was talking to Rob Speed about that, and they said, well, actually, they do allow, now it might have changed by now, depending on what the insurance has done in the meantime, but they were saying they do allow L-platers and they do allow new riders to ride because they want to make sure they're getting a bike that's right for them and getting the right customer service and all that kind of stuff. So they want to make sure that they retain that business as well, of course, because, you know, they're in it for a profit, of course, not for letting people have test rides willy-nilly. But most of the dealers won't allow you, quite simply. I know when I first bought my little L-plate bike, my 125, they wouldn't let me, so I just had to take a punt on it. When I bought my XJ6, again, nobody had let me ride it, so I just had to take a punt on it. And I was lucky that it turned out to be a really good bike. But when I got to ride the Z1000R, they'd let me ride it, even though I'd not actually had a license for 2 years, so that was the Rob Speed thing. But it is that kind of, how do you deal with it? So I was thinking about this, and I thought, well, obviously one thing you can do is ring around all the dealers and try and find one that will let you ride. But if you're in a remote area with few dealers, or if you're, you know, all the dealers in your area won't let you, then you're a bit stuck, aren't you? So I was thinking, well, how do you get around this problem? Because it's got to be best to ride before you buy. So I had a few ideas. He's keen to get across the bridge, must be scared of heights. So my first idea was, I mean, you can buy second-hand, of course, and some people will let you test ride, but generally you're going to have to put the cash in their hand for the bike first, because they're scared that you either bin it and destroy it, or you don't bring it back, and either of those will be a bad thing for them. So it's not the ideal, but it could be worth trying. Although, to be fair to those people, if you're not really interested in buying, don't be a tyre kicker. I think being a tyre kicker is pretty poor. Just go ahead and test ride in somebody's bike, sticking miles on it, putting it at risk if you're not interested in buying it. That's what dealers are for. So how do you do it with a dealer, I wonder? Well, say you can find a dealer that'll let you, but they might not. The next thing to do, I think, is have a ring round the dealers and say, if I provide my own insurance, will you let me? Because if insurance is the only problem, some of them will. So the bike I got my XJ6 from, who I'm not a fan of, so I won't buy another bike from them, they said when I wanted to test ride another bike, I can't remember what it was I wanted to ride. It was before I rode the MT-09. But they said, we won't let you on our insurance, but we will let you if you insure it yourself. And I had a look around, and there were places that for about £25 would insure me for one day to ride one specific bike. Now obviously that's not ideal, but it does mean that if there's a bike that you think you're going to like, at least you've got an opportunity to test ride that one. And straight from the dealer, so you're not putting miles on somebody's bike who, you know, he's going to suffer as a result, because it's a dealer, isn't it? That's what they're there for. Another idea I thought, quite often you'll find that there'll be open days for a particular supplier. And they don't all do it, but some of the open days, like I saw Suzuki open day, where you could test ride everything up to a Hayabusa. You could test ride, if you were a new rider, you couldn't test ride the 125s if you had CBT. You had to have a full license. But different manufacturers will do different rules on that. So it's definitely worth getting in contact with the manufacturers and finding out if there's something in your area that'll do it. And the other idea I had, if you're looking at buying an older bike, generally, have a look at training schools in your area and see what bikes they let you ride on. That way, you can get in contact with them, say that I am a new rider and I'd just like an hour's lesson. And they're probably going to charge you 25, 30 quid for an hour's lesson. But it'll be a lesson as a new rider, not as a learner. So you've got a chance to brush up some skills. And anybody who's been riding for only a year or so and thinks they haven't got skills that need brushing up is kidding themselves. But so you can brush up on your skills, but you can also brush up on your skills riding on a bike and give yourself, it might not be one you want, but it might give yourself a chance to try out something different and get a few ideas under your belt. So I learnt to ride on a Hornet, and then I ended up on an XJ6 that I didn't test ride. But there are training schools out there. There's quite a few in my area for sure that are using different bikes. So there's people with Suzukis, GSXs, there's people with XJ6s, people with Hornets, that kind of thing. So plenty to try that are all good kind of starter bikes. So those were my ideas on how you could get to ride a bike before you bought it. And I'd be interested to hear anybody else's in the comments. So anybody who's watching this thinking about doing this kind of thing, have a scan through the comments as well and see what people suggest. Anyway, I think that's enough. I'm going to go off and ride my my test bike for the day. So thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.